In this video, you'll learn our lessons that we've learned over the past 2 years when implementing AI for business. For example, understanding why employees don't use AI for business even though they understand it will increase their productivity and efficiency. We also look at how businesses really need to train employees and how they're failing at it today. Finally, we also look at the changes companies need to make to properly prepare their business for the future. Welcome to the AI Accelerator for Business show, where you get the latest strategies, tactics, and tips on how to get the business benefits of artificial intelligence. The show today is brought to you by 0 to 60.ai. My name is Carl Ye. I'm joined by my co-host Jeff Bradshaw, and today we're talking about the lessons we've learned, I think, the past 2 years on AI implementation. So there are so many things that we have learned, I guess, as AI has evolved, as businesses' knowledge and uses have evolved, and the things that we've seen in different companies on either successes and really challenges and problems of businesses implementing AI in a completely different environment that is changing on a regular basis. That's something we have never seen before.
Well, Carl, and I think, right off the top here, we always talk in every one of our presentations the two gaps that are out there. The gaps of those that use AI on a daily, regular basis and those who never use it or infrequently use it. And the second gap that we're seeing, which is people that may use AI on a daily basis, but they're only using it for a fraction of its capabilities versus those who are actually, pushing the limits on what's capable. And so that really applies to what we're talking about here today, is that adoption and how, why people don't buy into using AI and why others do.
And we've seen a lot of the studies, Gartner, McKinsey, whoever, name a big consulting group, Accenture, whatever study they came up with. And it always kind of boggles my mind when I see, oh, we've got 40, 50, 60% adoption. I was like, who are you talking about? Because time and time again, yes, people are using AI in pockets in the organization, but are they actually leveraging it to benefit from a business perspective? And there's very few businesses that have a cohesive, organized approach to that, and they have just pockets of people. We've seen maybe a department or person who's way above everybody else. But I've also noticed, I don't know have you seen, they only do it for their department or their job. They actually haven't gone beyond, be like, hey, you know what? I want to apply this to the entire company. It's more like, I just want to make my job faster, better, or my department faster and better with the AI tools. And that's as far as I'm going to go.
I think we've seen it departmentally, but I think we've even seen it individualistically, like where I use AI and I've got this secret formula that I'm using that I'm not going to tell anybody about because I look like a rock star and I don't want to share it with my coworkers because it's kind of my competitive advantage, which is such a wrong approach to it. I mean, I think that if people can start sharing information and you can get multiple people using it within an organization, that's where, you always say, right, rising tides lifts all boats. And I think if that's the mentality you can create in your organization, there's a huge benefit.
But we also have seen, like, there's reasons why employees either use AI infrequently at work. Maybe they use it, at home. We've heard that too. Oh, I use it to do this. I've used it to travel. I use it. But then you're like, okay, what do you use it for, at work? And it's like, I use it to do my emails and that's kind of it. Or I use it maybe a little bit as a research or just a little bit of idea generation. But it's like, oh, if you press that plus button, oh, I didn't even know that. So that's part of it. But I also think too, you know, people get busy. It's not that they want to resist. It's more of like, hey, I got a lot of stuff to do. I'm I'm comfortable with my workflow. This thing, while it looks like it can do my job faster and I would love it, I have I was talking to somebody yesterday. I have an accountability to my clients, and I know the output that I've done for years or decades will I know that output will help the client. I know it, I've seen it, I've done it. This AI thing, It may or may not, but I have to learn all these nuances, and maybe I just, you know what? Maybe I'll just stick to what I'm doing because I can guarantee that output.
Well, and with that, really, it's that, as it says, most employees aren't resisting; they're just overwhelmed. And they got so much going on. I think that's the big one. Another one is just executives underestimate how much guidance people actually need. They think that they can turn on Microsoft Copilot or give them access to a tool, and they just expect that they're going to be able to figure it out. And I think that that doesn't necessarily work, right? There needs to be specific tasks, there needs to be specific goals, and kind of that more guidance from the senior level.
Well, and how many times have we seen the employees have said, "Hey, even Microsoft Copilot, it's been turned on, but no one has taught us anything." Or I got this training like a year ago, but and it kind of leads on to the next one. But I got this training and but it's all hypothetical, or it's just random business use cases. And how many times have we heard, "Hey, I need you to train it, but I need you to train it in a way that our team is using it." What are like true business use cases, not just like high level, this is what you can do with Copilot. It's like, no, the person who's training you should have talked to the team and said, "Hey, can you give me examples that then I can turn it into using Excel or using PowerPoint or using Word, or my favorite, can you use like the Microsoft Graph in Teams and say, hey, we've I've met with Jeff the last 10. Can you summarize our last 10 meetings with Jeff about this particular topic and then give me a plan going forward?" Something simple like that. But that's never the case. It's always like, this is what you can do in Word. This is what you can do in Excel. This is what you can do in PowerPoint. This is what you can do. But I'm like, unless you connect it to what they do, they're like, that's fantastic. But how does it work for me?
The other one we have here is just, AI adoption spikes when employees see 30-minute tasks become 2 minutes. And we've seen that with some of our clients, right? Where we've seen examples where people have been really reluctant to use AI. They don't even like the fact that you and I are there, our team is there, until they see that, wait a minute, you just saved me 4 hours of time. And then they become the biggest fans of AI. And so I think that's one of the things too, is that if you can show some of those micro wins, that builds momentum, which will eventually change that cultural shift that you need within your organization.
I think too that also goes to the point of workshops are so key, because this is where the employees can show, hey, this is how I think I'm using AI, or can you show me potential for this particular workflow? And once they actually can see it, ask you questions, and do it at the same time, again, doesn't have to be with groups like us, could be with your AI council members who
Yep.
have more knowledge or experience about certain things. They can see it and then they turn that 30-minute to 2 minute. That's where you get the full benefits. Because I think we've failed at our job if you have people emailing you or slacking your teams or sending team messages saying, "Hey, this prompt doesn't work. Can you fix it?" And you're like, that's kind of not the point of this whole thing.
No, totally. And I think it's, you got to teach people how to use the tools, but expand their mind of, it's not just, press, click and go. It's like, no, understand what other capabilities you have. The other thing we've seen too is even having those departmental level champions, because too often we've seen this like, well, Joe is our local AI expert. Well, what happens then is, in that specific case, people just go to Joe all the time and go, Joe, this isn't working. This isn't working. They treat it like an IT department or a tech support department. And that, again, it goes against the grain. If you can build an AI council, get one or two champions in every single one of your departments, in HR, in finance, in marketing, in sales, in operations, in manufacturing, then I think you start to get that momentum and that buy-in, so that it's a collaborative effort, so that, again, the whole company is moving. It's not just one person you've given a title to, because then they're just going to be expected to fix everything because people are lazy. And
Yeah.
that, again, it goes against the grain of what we're trying to do here.
And it isn't, AI isn't a software that if it breaks, you have to go to an expert. It's like, no, like maybe the prompt isn't the problem. It was like, hey, there was a model update, or you put something in incorrect, or but AI can help you problem solve that. Like it isn't just, oh, it doesn't work. It's like this is the time, like, hey, this is my expected outcome. This is how you, the AI, your output, why did this happen? Oh, how can I improve my prompting to reach this conclusion? And it, like, most likely it'll have an answer for you, like why it did this, or using the example, so it's very more focused on getting to that result. And I think from the problem solving perspective, that's a skill most people don't have yet, or don't know that you can do that with AI.
Another one on the list we have here is people forget fast. So without reinforcement, adoption collapses in 7 to 14 days. So if you can have weekly updates and follow-ups and share prompts and keep that momentum going, because again, we see it too, right? We'll go in and do training. We'll come back a month later and everybody says, I was too busy. I haven't used it. Well, again, that defeats the point. And if you want to talk about having a waste of investment and a failure with your AI projects, is don't have that ongoing support. The ones that we see that have the success with it is they're constantly talking about it. They're constantly looking for ways to integrate AI into their operations. People are encouraging others to use it. So those, keep it going. Because you talk about all the time that people, if you get busy, you're going to fall back into the way you've done it for the past 20 years just because you know it, it's reliable, and you don't have to think about it. Even though a potential AI solution could do it in a fraction of the time, you'll still fall back into those old habits. So it's that changing people's, change management is the critical point there.
A part of that too is getting people to use it, is your leaders have to use it too, right? It can't just be, oh, the team's using it, then why do I have to? But like, no, it's part of, like, oh, we're expected to use this, yet so and so leader doesn't have to do it. It kind of sets the whole thing. It doesn't make sense for the group, and kind of sets a wrong example of, do what I say, not what I do, right? That kind of stuff.
That's where we see some of the most resistance is from senior levels. They're like, yeah, everybody should be using AI. And we're like, and you too. And they're like, nah, I'm old. I'm not very technical, old school. And we're like, no, that's bullshit. Like, you need to lead the pack. You need to learn how to use these tools, because if you're using it, you're going to understand the capabilities of it, and you're going to be even more so committed to getting your teams to use it, because this isn't something that you can hand off to your IT team department. And we see this all the time. My IT team is handling it. I just got an email yesterday from a prospective client. My IT team handles it. I'm going, sure, go ahead, hand it to your IT team, and you're just going to get whatever your IT team thinks about it. In many cases, your IT team says, this is just a bunch more work, so I'm just going to shut it down, click off Copilot. There, we're good. The CEO is going to go, great. Meanwhile, your competitors are going to go flying by you because they're adapting a different frame of mind. So you can't play the old card or the I'm too technical card, or the young guys on the team are going to handle it card, because that just doesn't work.
And what we're seeing too is AI use isn't a, unlike social media, only young people. It's like, no, we've seen resistance from all ends of the spectrum. We've seen it in companies where the resistance comes from the younger employees and the want is from older employees, right? There is that resistance. So it's across the board, and it isn't just, oh, this group of people, our younger employees will have it. Maybe there's a propensity for that, but I think, like, there's a lot more people, because of how widespread this is. There's your champions could go from more your senior employees to even your junior employees too. I think the next thing we want to mention too is, like, AI has to touch the places where you're already working, right? Your existing workflows. It can't just be another application that has to be, I have to do this, so I have to do extra steps. I'm already overwhelmed at work. I need to do extra things. Why would I do that?
And that we talk about that all the time, is that if you're forcing people to use it, it's kind of like, again, you can lead a horse to water, you can't make them drink. And that's what so many companies do, is it's like, we're using AI, and so start using it, and people are like, doesn't do what I need it to do, or I don't understand what it can do. And so there's just resistance. They're like, sure, I'll try it just because you told me to. that's not going to work either. You got to bring people along. You got to you got to educate them on why it's there. I was just going to make another point too, is that when we talk about resistance, a lot of people resist it, even the younger people, because of even beliefs. Sometimes it's a fear of change. Sometimes it's a lack of technical knowledge. Sometimes it's because my daughter won't use AI because she's just bound and determined that she's heard that it uses up too much energy and it's bad for the environment. So she resists it. But she also won't do any digging into it, research to go, is that actual true? I just saw a report that says it's bad for the environment. Some people think it's going to take jobs from their spouse who's in the creative industry, so they resist it. But again, they're valid concerns. You need to be aware of them, but you got to take a look at it from your company's standpoint. If this is a way that you're going to stay competitive and make your operations more efficient, if you have people digging their heels in and not accepting this new technology, their days may be numbered in your organization. And I hate to say that, but it's kind of, I use the example too, like if you're an accountant, if you didn't like computers and you were determined to continue to do your books with a pencil and paper, how many accounting firms are going to keep you on staff?
I think, and the final thing here is, it's so easy to say, hey, you know what, this AI solution, whatever it is, has 10x'd our work. Okay, cool. Let's on to the next thing. But you have to track it and you have to showcase it, because what's important is other people in the organization see the win, and that leads them to think, hey, if that group can do it, why can't we? Or, hey, that's a very similar use case to ours. That gets them talking versus what we've seen. I'm going to do it for my work, for my department, or for me individually. And it either makes me look like a rock star, or I'm just really focused on my job. I'm not really thinking about anybody else.
And that's totally it. And I think that it's, you got to track those wins in order to, really justify it and bring people along. So, this is a very important topic. And I think that's one of the things, is that it's not the capabilities of the technology that are holding companies back. We always talk about this. The change management is probably the most difficult and challenging part. And if you can figure that out, you'll see success. Yeah.
The takeaway out of all of this is, to understand full implementation, I think you definitely have to engage in some sort of discovery or audit with your group. You have to actually talk to your frontline staff. You unilaterally putting in a tool, or your leadership team, here's the tool we're going to use, without regular training, or without even providing the multiple tools to try out and really investing in it, and just rather treating it as just another technology solution that our IT team can handle. I think that's one of the biggest mistakes we've seen then. And I think if you can get past that and start thinking about it more as a completely different mind shift, a completely different way to operate, that's, for us, that's what can lead to success for a lot of companies. Learn more about implementing AI for your business by watching these videos here. Enjoy today's episode. Want to learn how AI can impact your company? Then please subscribe to this channel. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in our next episode.